Hello, everybody. It's Symmetry Solutions Live, and it's Friday, the 4th of September. We're super glad to be with you. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
We're trying
Hello,
this.
hello.
I know we're trying this new format where we're all on the screen at the same time. I kind of like it versus just when I'm talking. I guess we can't pick our noses anymore in between, but.
Oh, we can.
Oh, well, actually, I shouldn't say things like that with Lisa.
Don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what not to do.
The minute I hear don't, I just almost can't help it.
Well, every Friday, we try to gather some of us around lunchtime to talk about a topic that we either are asked about directly by you, the audience. So feel free to leave us questions in the threads or private message us if you'd rather have an anonymous question. And or something that we've kind of come across in our practice or the news or research. We're just trying to share some information with you. So today we thought we'd talk about something that comes up a lot in especially couples work. And it's this idea of when should I be honest and when should I be private? And is privacy dishonesty? So that's what we're here to talk about, is this paradox per se of information. So yeah, any initial thoughts from either one of you as far as how this shows up in your cases?
I think it shows up a lot around sexual fantasy.
That's for
right?
sure.
Like, is something that I think about something that I want to, or something that I should or am supposed to share with my partner? And, like, am I being dishonest if I don't tell them that? Or am I, like, I don't know. I feel like it's so dependent on the context of the relationship. Like, there are certainly relationships where, like, sharing every single fantasy is actually kind of exciting and fun. And then there are relationships where there could be a really high cost to that. And I think it goes back to your idea of protective intimacy, right? Like, we want to be really vulnerable with our partners. And I think that is like an ideal we all sort of like hope for, but we also have partners who are human. And I think that there are times when, like, not sharing everything is appropriate given the, like, in the context, and what maybe we can hope that things might shift, but like, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
What I think sex is definitely an area where this comes up a lot. Any other areas you think, Jenny, that you can think of?
But I was thinking over the life cycle of a relationship that tend to change. Like if you're a brand new 20-year-old getting married, you're super in love and you think, oh, we should like think the same and we share all of our secrets and we share everything. And then about 20 years later, you're kind of like, I think I might like some privacy in my life, right? I think that's normal. You're going to see some changes over the life cycle of your relationship too.
Yeah, so maybe the type of honesty shared in your mid-20s is different than your mid-50s or something like that. I like that.
Right. If you feel like if you're being dishonest, if you're being too private in a brand new parts of the relationship.
I see this a lot too in finance decisions. When is it okay to not share something that I spent money on? And I also see it kind of, at Symmetry, we work a lot with faith transitions and people who are typically moving away from religious structures, but sometimes also joining religious, entities. And how much do I need to share about my beliefs or my ideas, or even how much does a partner want your partner to share? Like, maybe some of that stuff I don't want to know. Why are you telling me everything? So it can go both ways, right? Not just, am I hiding something, but do I even want to know everything that you're thinking?
I think politics too. Like, politics can be one that can be hard to talk about, right? Like, if I have a political belief that's different from my spouse, but it doesn't really affect us day to day, and it might cause a big fight, is that something I really even want to share with them?
Right.
Like,
yeah. Well, so go ahead, Jenny.
I was going to say it comes up a lot with social media. Like, how much do you get to see what your partner is into and who they're texting and posting about?
Yeah, right. So lots of things to consider. So how I like to frame this is that honesty, it's not necessarily that you're either honest or dishonest, or that you're private or non-private. It's that they're two completely different principles and they're kind of at odds with each other, and I think that we are dealt with a lot of paradox as humans, just maybe a simple one is that most of us would probably believe that it's not okay to kill another person, but if it came to self-protection, right, we believe in self-protection and you would defend yourself, if you had to, even in the case of killing somebody, right? So that's a really difficult paradox that we deal with, right, when it comes to war and military, and even a lot of the issues that we have just, with people just in communities. So that's kind of like an extreme paradox, but I think those paradoxes are all over the place in regards to relationships. Do I pick even just the me versus we? That's something that I talk a lot about. I think every relationship has the paradox implied of the me versus we. I'm still an individual in this relationship, but I'm also a couple in this relationship, right? Or, so when do I act on behalf of the me and when do I act on behalf of the we? And it'd be nice.
Similarly with the whole family system, like the self and the system.
Right.
Like when am I the mom and when am I the individual?
The woman.
The woman.
How you said that was kind of exciting.
I was excited.
Well, we do sex therapy at Symmetry, just in case anybody wanted to know. Anyway, yeah, so, and I think this causes a lot of this conflict of when is it okay to self-advocate and when am I being selfish, or when am I being, take self-care versus selling myself short, right? So it's all of these pulls and pushes that I don't know that we have an exact answer to. It's kind of like you have to explore where those kind of lines cross for you in your particular situation.
Have any of you guys ever experienced where like you're just like hanging out on your computer or your phone and someone comes up behind you? Like my partner in particular will come up behind and is kind of watching what I'm doing. And it's not that I'm doing anything that's like wrong or bad, or like it just feels like bad. I don't want someone watching over my shoulder about what I'm writing or like viewing. And it's nothing I'm ashamed of. Like if it was out in the public, I'd be like, yeah, okay, so I was playing Candy Crush. I don't know, right? But it still feels like, don't look over my shoulder. Like it's just, I think it's like a pretty innate like autonomy thing, right? Like I need like space, and it's not about shame. It's not about anything's wrong. It's just like, I need space. Like I need individual space.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think that in our culture, Western romantic kind of culture, we've gotten this idea that you belong to me and I belong to you. And kind of like you were saying, Jenny, especially in the beginnings of relationships, it's like we must share everything together and we can feel really intimate in that space of sharing. And then we feel threatened when and if there is a bit of distance that is broached, which happens, over time as you live together and spend a life together. And so I think this idea of getting away from this ownership, like I own your information somehow because I'm married to you or partnered with you, I own all your information and that should be mine. And that's a little bit too much in that enmeshment space where we need a little bit of individuality. Actually, I think a medium amount of individuality in order for couplehood to go well. And the research supports that. So I don't know. Any thoughts about all that, Jenny? I know you got to go here in a few minutes. I do.
Yeah, we had a nice little chat about this earlier about how couples should have a general expectation that your partner can only meet about 60 to 70% of your needs. So that kind of leads into this idea of, how much enmeshment, how much separateness there should be in our relationship too. And I was just thinking from a parenting point of view, that also is going to change over time. When you're a parent of small children, they don't really get a whole lot of space by themselves, right? They need to be watched over. And you got a bunch of teenagers in your house like I do, they get a lot more space, they get a lot more privacy, and that's normal, and that's, considered developmentally accurate. And then we turn into adults, and then we become very independent, we have lots of space, and then we're in this relationship. And then we're like navigating this all over again about this space and privacy and honesty and all of that.
I love
Another
that.
thing that I think is interesting about this is like just going into attachment theory a little bit, that like some of us, like me, for instance, I have some avoidant attachment issues where I'm not always able to soothe myself in conjunction with other people, right? Because that wasn't how I was raised. I wasn't raised to be, my parents didn't soothe me. I had to go off by myself, hide in a corner, and so, I can find too much connection to be overwhelming sometimes, right? Like just to be at like a nice, steady, feeling good about me pace, sometimes I just need to be able to self-soothe in a corner by myself, right? And so, I think that there's some of that too.
Lisa, do you find that mom tend to have guilt around that too? That the idea that they need to have self-soothing and the amount of self-soothing that they need, right? Hallelujah.
Are we having like a visceral reaction to mom guilt?
Yeah.
Mom guilt?
What?
Yeah, no, I might be having some mom guilt, yeah.
Well, as
for sure.
I'm a gooey attacher, so we should hang out together, Lisa, because then you can help practice push me away, and I can help like gooify you.
Yeah.
Making a sandwich.
But that was something that I struggled with my kids. Like when they were needing soothing, I needed soothing too, and that meant I wanted to run away from them sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that is rough.
That's something that partners have to negotiate a lot with, because there can be this sort of general expectation that mom do all of that soothing, dad does some, particularly coming out of Mormonism type of thing. And people have guilt around that. Like, I don't want to hug my kids all day long. I want to go do my own thing.
Right. And I think just being able to have thoughts in my head that I feel like are my own, even though, like I do want to be very vulnerable with my husband, like for real, I do. Like I feel very emotionally safe with him. I don't feel judged. I don't feel, but at the same time, like there is something about my internal brain pan space and having some private thoughts that aren't always on display, that's soothing to me. It feels safe.
Well, and I really love how, Jenny, you brought up this kind of like this life cycle picture. And then, Lisa, you're kind of bringing up some personal experience about how what's happening here in young childhood developmental stages, we tend to play out again and repeat, in relationships in our adult lives. And so part of understanding where we come from is super important, understanding the patterns. A lot of times people in therapy resist that with me. They're like, oh, I don't want to throw my parents under the bus, or do we really need to talk about the past, and I'm not a psychoanalyst where I want to spend years or months even in your past, but I do think having some basic understanding of where you come from, what attachment styles there were in your family, how flexible or chaotic or rigid was your family, how enmeshed or disattached was your family, gives you a lot of really good information as to what might be happening in your current relationships, both with your partner and with your kids and your parenting styles. And some of that is good to just accept and just know this is kind of how I am. And then you can talk to your partner and kids about that so that they get, oh, this isn't because I'm not loved or because you're pushing me away. It's because I need a little space, and they learn how to respect that. And or also you can move into some behavioral shifts yourself, to lean into some of the needs of your current system, whether that's a partner who's asking for more connection, asking for more space, and your kids. So
yeah,
I think
learning, like, I think it can go both ways. Like if you're raised in a system that like maybe values honesty or overvalues honesty, right? Like there can be learning this privacy thing, right? Like, and if you're in a space that valued privacy or maybe overvalued privacy, you might want to learn how to, you know, go toward some honesty or some vulnerability, right? And that they're both, you know, like we can swing either way. And sometimes like if we over-attach, like if we over-attach to honesty, we cannot give ourselves enough privacy. And if we over-attach to privacy, we might miss out on connection opportunities, right?
I love that. And that's why there's no right answer. That's why context matters. So when you come to strategies and listen to us and you're like, okay, but they didn't give me a concrete answer. That's right. That's we're here to confuse you.
Welcome to therapy.
We're here to invite you to an ongoing process of exploration.
You know, I just read that one sign of emotional maturity is like making problems more complex.
Ooh.
So see, we're just being mature.
We are so emotionally mature.
So
oh my
mature.
gosh, such a good reframe, Lisa. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. This has been Symmetry Solutions Live. Please reach out to us if you have any other questions. Just so you know, we are an online and in-office practice. We offer mental health services, sex therapy, wellness coaching. So depending on what your needs are, we can probably meet them. And if not, we're more than happy to refer you out to the resources that we're aware of. And hopefully you'll tune in some other time and let us know what you think, what you like, what you want to hear more from us about. And have a good Labor Day weekend, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Fun to hang out.